The Hartwell Museum glowed like a jewel against the evening sky as Marcus Thorne stepped from his car. Crystal chandeliers cast golden light through tall windows onto the marble steps where guests in designer gowns floated past. He adjusted his cufflinks and reminded himself why he had come. The Children's Literacy Foundation deserved his support even if these events made his skin crawl. Inside the grand hall, string music drifted over conversations about stock portfolios and vacation properties. Marcus accepted a glass of champagne he had no intention of drinking and scanned for the quickest exit route. His business partner Daniel had insisted he attend, claiming that networking was essential. Marcus called it torture. He was calculating how long before he could politely disappear when he noticed her. She stood near the restoration wing entrance wearing a simple green dress that somehow outshone every designer gown in the room. Her dark hair fell in soft waves past her shoulders and her brown eyes held a warmth that seemed entirely out of place among these cold marble walls. She clutched a champagne glass like a lifeline while talking to an elderly patron who gestured enthusiastically at a nearby painting. Marcus found himself moving toward her before his mind caught up with his feet. The elderly man wandered away just as Marcus approached. The woman looked up at him and something shifted in his chest. Up close she was even more striking. Her features were delicate but there was strength in her jaw and intelligence in her gaze. "You look like someone who would rather be cataloging artifacts than making small talk," he said. She laughed and the sound wrapped around him like warm silk. "Is it that obvious?" "Only to someone who feels exactly the same way." She extended her hand. "Lila Brennan. I work in restoration here." "Marcus Thorne." He took her hand and felt electricity spark between their palms. Her skin was soft and warm and he held on perhaps a moment too long. They talked for nearly 2 hours tucked into a quiet alcove near the medieval tapestries. Lila spoke about her passion for preserving history and how every artifact told a story waiting to be understood. Marcus found himself sharing things he never discussed at these events. His frustration with investors who only cared about returns. His secret dream of funding archaeological expeditions instead of tech startups. Lila listened without judgment, her eyes never leaving his face. When she laughed at his dry observations about the other guests, he felt something loosen in his chest that had been tight for years. Then his phone buzzed urgently. His assistant's message flashed across the screen. "Emergency board meeting. Singapore deal collapsing." Marcus looked at Lila and felt genuine pain at having to leave. "I have to go. Business emergency. Can I get your number?" But before she could answer, someone called his name from across the hall. His lawyer waving frantically. Lila smiled softly. "Go. Handle your emergency." He squeezed her hand once, memorizing the feel of her fingers against his. Then he disappeared into the crowd, already planning how he would find her again. 3 months later, Marcus had nearly worn a path in his office carpet thinking about that night. He had returned to the museum the very next day, but Lila was not there. The staff would not give him her contact information, citing privacy policies. He hired investigators who found her address, her workplace, her entire history. Lila Brennan was 29 years old. She lived in a small apartment with her mother Elena, who suffered from a degenerative neurological condition requiring expensive treatments. Lila worked 2 jobs trying to keep up with medical bills that grew faster than she could pay them. Her younger sister Nadia was studying nursing at the state university, supported entirely by Lila's sacrifices. The more Marcus learned, the more his admiration grew. This woman carried impossible burdens without complaint. She gave everything to her family while asking nothing for herself. He watched from a distance as she walked to work each morning. Watched her visit her mother at the care facility every evening. Watched her decline overtime requests because her body was already running on empty. And slowly a plan formed in his mind. A way to help her. A way to have her in his life. It was manipulative. He knew that. But Marcus Thorne had built his empire by seeing opportunities others missed and acting decisively. Lila needed someone to save her even if she would never admit it. He would be that someone. All she had to do was marry him. The letter arrived on the worst day of Lila's life. Her mother Elena had suffered a severe episode requiring immediate hospitalization. The doctors spoke in grave tones about experimental treatments that insurance would never cover. The numbers they quoted made Lila's head spin. She sat in the hospital cafeteria staring at collection notices when a courier approached. The cream envelope contained a legal document offering marriage to an unnamed client in exchange for complete medical debt forgiveness and ongoing care for her mother. 1 year minimum, then freedom. Lila called the number with shaking hands. The law office occupied the 30th floor of the most expensive building downtown. When she entered the corner office, Marcus Thorne stood at the window watching the city below. Her breath caught. "You." "Hello, Lila." His voice was the same deep warmth she remembered, but tension lined his jaw. "This was you. The offer. Everything." He nodded once. "Sit down. Let me explain." Lila remained standing. "How did you know about my mother? About any of this? I had you investigated after that night. I wanted to find you again. When I discovered your situation, I saw an opportunity." "An opportunity?" Anger flared hot in her chest. "To buy me. To help you. And yes, to have you in my life." Julian stepped closer. "That conversation at the museum stayed with me. I have not stopped thinking about you for 3 months. You could have just called me. Asked me out like a normal person. Would you have accepted money from a stranger? Would you have let me pay your mother's bills out of charity?" Lila opened her mouth then closed it. He was right. Her pride would never have allowed it. "My mother needs treatment within 2 weeks," she said quietly. "Is that why you timed this offer?" Marcus had the grace to look uncomfortable. "I knew you were running out of options." They negotiated terms for an hour. Separate bedrooms. No expectations beyond public appearances. After 1 year, either party could divorce with all financial benefits remaining in place. Everything in writing. Everything legal. When Lila finally signed the contract, her hand trembled. She had just sold a year of her life to a man she barely knew. But her mother would live. Her sister would finish school. The impossible weight on her shoulders lifted slightly even as a new weight settled in its place. The wedding happened 3 days later at City Hall. 12 minutes. No flowers. Plain gold bands. When the official suggested they could kiss, Lila shook her head. Kissing felt too real for this transaction. Marcus drove her to his penthouse in silence. The elevator opened directly into a living space larger than her entire apartment building. Floor-to-ceiling windows showed the city sprawling below like a glittering map. "Your room is this way." Marcus led her down a hallway to a bedroom with its own bathroom and closet already filled with designer clothes. "This is too much," Lila whispered. "You are my wife now. You need to look the part." The words stung even though they were true. She was playing a role. Nothing more. "We have a charity dinner Friday," Marcus said from the doorway. "Our first public appearance. I will need you there. Playing the beautiful wife already." That was the agreement. His voice cooled. "I have held my end. Your mother's treatment is scheduled. Your sister's tuition is covered." He left and Lila sat on the enormous bed feeling more alone than ever. She was married to a stranger living in a golden cage, wondering if she had made the best decision of her life or the worst. The first week passed in awkward silence. Lila barely saw Marcus. He worked constantly, emerging only for brief stilted meals where silverware clinking against plates was the only sound. Friday arrived too quickly. Lila chose a deep blue gown from the closet and did her own makeup, refusing the stylist Marcus offered. When she emerged, he stood waiting in a perfect tuxedo. His eyes traveled over her slowly and something flickered in their gray depths. "You look beautiful." Heat rose to her cheeks. "You clean up well yourself." The charity gala was everything Lila expected. Wealthy donors and politicians circling each other like sharks. Marcus kept his hand on her lower back as they moved through the crowd. The warmth of his palm burned through the thin fabric of her dress. "You are doing well," he murmured against her ear during a quiet moment. "I can pretend with the best of them," she replied, ignoring how her body responded to his nearness. "Is that what this is? Pretending?" Their eyes met and Lila saw heat there that made her stomach clench. What else would it be? Marcus did not answer, but his hand tightened on her waist. In the car afterward, Lila slipped off her heels. Marcus watched her in the dim light. "Can I ask you something?" she said. "Why me really? You could have married anyone." He was quiet for a long moment. "Because I have thought about you every single day since that night. Because I have never felt about to something real. To us exploring this connection between us." His voice dropped. "Tell me you do not feel it too." Lila wanted to lie. Wanted to protect herself. But she could not. "You are not alone," she whispered. Marcus closed the distance between them. His hand cupped her face gently. "Then let me kiss you." Every logical part of her brain screamed to step back. But her body had other ideas. She leaned into his touch. "Yes." He kissed her like he had been starving for it. His mouth claimed hers with hunger that sent fire through her veins. They stumbled toward the bed, still kissing, hands exploring. When he reached for the hem of her shirt, Lila caught his hand. "Wait," she said breathlessly. "There is something you should know." Marcus pulled back, concern replacing desire. "I have never done this before." She felt her face burn. "I know it is probably strange at my age, but I never found the right person, and then everything with my mother happened and there was never time." He caught her chin gently, forcing her to look at him. "I think you are extraordinary. And if we do this, it changes everything." "How?" "Because I will be your first." His voice was rough. "That means something to me, Lila. It means you are trusting me with something precious." She looked into his eyes and saw genuine emotion there. "I trust you. Then I will make this perfect for you," he promised. He took his time, using gentle touches and whispered reassurances. When there was pain, he held her through it. And when pleasure finally crashed over her, Marcus was there, his eyes locked on hers, sharing the moment. Afterward they lay tangled together, her head on his chest. "Stay with me tonight," he whispered. She should have insisted on boundaries. But lying in his arms felt too right. Okay. 3 weeks passed in a haze of stolen moments. Days of distance while Marcus worked. Nights of passion that left Lila breathless and confused. They never defined what they were becoming, and the uncertainty ate at her. Her friend May noticed immediately when they met for lunch. "You are sleeping with him," May said bluntly. "I can see it all over your face. Is it that obvious? Please tell me you are being careful. This man orchestrated your entire marriage. That is not normal. He said he loves me." Men say many things when they want something. May squeezed her hand. "Protect yourself." That night Lila did not open her door when Marcus knocked. "I need space," she called through the wood. "Did I do something wrong?" "No. I just need to think." She heard him sigh, then footsteps retreating down the hall. Marcus disappeared for 3 days. No dinners. No notes. The penthouse felt empty without him, and Lila hated how much that bothered her. On the 3rd day he appeared in the library looking exhausted. "We need to talk," he said. I lied to you about why I wanted this marriage. Lila's stomach dropped. What do you mean? I told you it was for business reasons. That was partially true but not the real reason. He dropped to his knees in front of her. From the moment I saw you I was obsessed. I hired investigators. I watched you for weeks learning everything about you. When I discovered your mother's death I saw my chance. You stalked me. Yes. His voice broke. I manipulated your entire life to have you. It was wrong and I am not going to apologize because I would do it again. How can I believe anything you say? Tears burned her eyes. You built everything on lies. I know I do not deserve your trust. But I love you, Lila. Everything I feel is real. I need time. Take all the time you need. He stood, shoulders sagging. But please know that every touch, every moment was real. He left and Lila sat frozen. Over the following week she avoided him completely. He left notes under her door. Small messages. Apologies. She read everyone but never responded. 10 days later Lila woke nauseated. Then again the next morning. Terrible suspicion formed. The pregnancy test showed 2 pink lines. She stared at it for an hour. A baby. She was carrying Marcus's child. A man who had manipulated her into marriage. A man who claimed to love her. A man she was terrified to trust. Lila found Marcus in his office staring at spreadsheets he clearly was not seeing. Dark circles shadowed his eyes. We need to talk. He looked up and hope flickered across his face before he controlled it. I am listening. She placed the pregnancy test on his desk. Marcus stared at it. Then at her. His expression shifted through shock to wonder to fear. You are pregnant. Yes. He stood slowly as if sudden movement might shatter something. Is it mine? Of course it is. I did not mean. He ran his hands through his hair. I just cannot believe this. Neither can I. Silence stretched between them. Finally Marcus spoke. What do you want to do? I do not know. Lila wrapped her arms around herself. I am terrified, Marcus. You manipulated me into this marriage. You watched me for weeks without my knowledge. How can I raise a child with someone I cannot trust? He flinched as if she had struck him. You are right. Everything you said is true. I did terrible things to have you. I was so obsessed with getting what I wanted that I never considered what it would cost you. He crossed to the window staring out at the city. My father was cold and controlling. He treated my mother like a possession. I swore I would never be like him, but I became exactly what I hated. I saw you and I wanted you and I took you without caring about your feelings. When he turned back, tears streamed down his face. I love you, Lila. That part was never a lie. But love does not excuse what I did. If you want to leave, I will not stop you. The financial arrangements stay in place regardless. Your mother, your sister, they will be taken care of forever. And the baby. He closed his eyes. I will support whatever you decide. If you want me involved, I will spend the rest of my life earning your trust. If you want to raise this child alone, I will respect that too. Lila watched him cry and felt something shift in her chest. This was not the composed, powerful man who had orchestrated her life. This was someone broken open by his own mistakes. Someone desperate to be better. She crossed the room and took his hand. I do not forgive you. Not yet. What you did was wrong and I may never fully trust you. I understand. But I am willing to try. She squeezed his fingers. We start over completely. No more secrets. No more manipulation. You court me properly. Dates. Conversations. Building something real. Hope dawned in his eyes. You mean it? One condition. If you ever lie to me again or try to control me, I walk away and I take this child with me. I swear it. He pulled her into his arms, holding her like she was precious. I will spend forever proving I deserve you. 1 year later they stood in a garden surrounded by friends and family. Lila's mother Elena sat in the front row, tears streaming down her face. Her sister Nadia held their 3-month-old daughter Rosie, who gurgled happily at all the attention. The officiant smiled at them. You may now speak your vows. Marcus took Lila's hands. 1 year ago I manipulated you into a contract. Today I am asking you to choose me freely. I promise to be honest even when it is hard. To support your dreams. To be a father our daughter can be proud of. I love you, Lila. Not as a possession but as my partner. Lila smiled through tears. 1 year ago I married a stranger because I had no choice. Today I choose you because I have seen who you really are. Flawed and complicated and trying so hard to be better. I love you, Marcus. The real you. They exchanged new rings. Simple bands they had chosen together. When Marcus kissed her, Lila felt the last wall around her heart crumble. They had started with manipulation and desperation. But they had built something real from the wreckage. Their daughter laughed and the future stretched before them full of possibility.